Hey guys, welcome to Multisim 14.2 tutorial part 1. So in this tutorial, I'll show you how to basically start making circuits. If you open Multisim, this is the page you will land on, and this is design window. You can create more design windows by clicking on new, either there or here. So blank, create new, or you can close them. So let's start with the first one. Let's go to place component, and you see different groups. So it's all groups. So you can go to basic for the basic circuit elements such as resistor, capacitors, switches, and so on. So I like to bring resistor here. I like to make a series circuit with 2 resistors and a voltage source. So I click OK, is selected, and as you can see, it's just you can place wherever you want. So one click, and it automatically takes back to the previous window, assuming that you might need more elements. If you don't need it, just cross that, close that. The other way, you could close it just by pressing escape. There is a setup, you could change it that this window would not pop up. So in my case, I got one resistor, and I'll show you this resistor by default. We got 1 kilo ohm resistor, and the name is R1. We could change names and the values. Let's say the values, we can change it to 2 kilo ohms, 2 kilo ohms, and label. You could write it, say, RX or your name, maybe. That's even okay. I'll leave it R1 because it sounds decent to me. The value is 2K. So let me get another resistor. So I could go to the same place and component, get another one. But instead, I could also go to this toolbar and place basic. If you click there, you will get to the same window and bring that 1 kilo resistor back. I'm even not going there. So another easy way to make it, copy and paste, Control C and V, you copy and paste. And notice the value remains same, but the name changes R2 because 2 elements cannot have the same name. Okay, I moved them there a little bit. So now I like to place a source. So place source, click on there. So no matter wherever you click, you are going to the same windows. So now I have sources here, not basic sources. And I need a power source and DC power source. So let's take a DC power source. So I got a DC power source here, and I don't need any further things so far. So this DC, and like before, let's say I don't want to see that V1 name. So in that case, go to this display option and you can customize it. So show labels, show values, and what I need, I only need values. So I don't need to see anything else. In that case, this V1 is gone. I can move it to a little bit left side. Now I got all the elements except one, though. I'm coming to that one. How can you connect? If you bring the cursor here, you see the cursor changes. So that's when the cursor is connected to the line. And if you drag it, go there, just one click, just to make an anchor, and another click. So this is a connecting wire. between the two elements. Do the same thing here, and one click, and that joins the two elements. So one click and anchor, another click and anchor, and connect. So my circuit is pretty much done, but folks, please note that Multisim cannot work unless we place a ground connection. So here is your ground connection in the source, so ground, and this is our ground. So we need to place a ground, whichever node you want to see as ground. Now, Multisim, whether it's shown or not, it counts all these, it counts the nodes. Multisim considers these connections as a node. And how can I see that? So if we go to nets, we can see that how they're connected. You see 0 is this node, node 0, node 1 is this node, and node 2 is this node. So again, this is node 0, this is node 1, sorry, this is node 2, and this is node 1. All right, we'll need that node, by the way. So at this point, we got our circuit done. So what's the point of making this circuit? To know the current and voltages. How can we measure this current and voltages? We can do simulation, simulate this circuit. It doesn't really show what is happening here. So stop simulation. In order to see the current and voltages, we would need a meter. So you see a bunch of symbols here at the right. These actually are for all different meters or equipment. For example, this is IV analyzer, spectrum analyzer, network analyzer, or function generator, multimeter. This is what I'm looking for. So here is a multimeter here. Okay, great. I got a multimeter. Now, what multimeter is this? If I double click this, that will show me the front panel of that multimeter. As you might have used this one in your lab. So the connections, you see the connections here, they're shown, they correspond to these points here. So I want to measure voltage, for example. So we need a connection here and a ground connection here. So that is this one. So to measure voltage across R2, and I need a ground connection. So as you can see here, these two knobs have been changed, and that indicates these two knobs are connected now with the circuit. Okay, so if we click here, now it will show, surprisingly, you can actually, this is not only just a front panel, you can turn on this meter. So push button, click on the push power button, the meter is on now. So it is by default here, voltage, AC voltage, so we are measuring DC voltage. Select here, it changes to DC voltage. And now this is simulation button. So if you run this one, the circuit will start simulating. Simulate, run the simulation. So we have 6 volts across this resistor, and from simple circuit, we know that's obvious. Okay, so we got how to measure voltage. If we want to measure current using this meter, we need to break this circuit again here and do the same thing. But this is probably not the best one, particularly when we have so many elements in a circuit. And if we have, this is particularly not the best one. This is not necessarily the best one particularly when we'll have so many elements in a circuit, you cannot place this many big meters in the circuit. So let's find a realistic one, and I like to delete this. To delete any element, click, right click, and then delete. But this is not working. Let's stop simulation, and to delete any element, right click on that and press delete. So it's gone. The other way to measure voltage and current is this probes. So let's bring a voltage probe here. So when it is connected, as you can see, when it is connected, the color changes to yellow. So it's now connected, and I can, if I want, I can move it a little bit to make it better. But it gives us a whole bunch of voltages, including AC voltage and DC voltage, but we don't need that many voltage, different voltages, and it doesn't make any sense, so we can customize it. Let's double click on that and find parameters. So on parameters, you see what can be measured here. So click on custom. Then at this point, everything is yes. Click on show, and then again click. So this toggle will make it all no, nothing been displayed. And now I'll pick VDC. I'll just make VDC yes. So apply. And you see, this one is now giving us only VDC. So now if I simulate the circuit, it's giving me 6 volts. And one thing, note that the voltage here is with respect to ground always, with respect to ground always. If you use the meter, you could use any two terminals. You could measure voltage across any two nodes. So, and no to everything, then make DC, IDC, yes. And this will show the current now. If we run the simulation, so it's giving us 6 volts, 3 milliampere current. So you're done. This is how we can make a simple circuit and measure current and voltage at all different parts in a circuit. We can measure currents and voltages in the circuit. Thank you for watching this video. The next video will show you circuit analysis.